Hello, children. This is Manish Yadav, your English teacher. Today, we are going to cover the summary as well as question answers for the chapter Reach for the Top. First of all, I will tell you the summary of this chapter in which we studied about Santosh Yadav as she scaled Mount Everest twice. She got a place in the mind of all the mountaineers, seniors, and juniors. Let you know the summary of this chapter line by line. Santosh's family, background, and birth. Santosh Yadav has twice climbed Mount Everest. She is the only woman in the world to do so. She was first woman, first lady in the world who scaled Mount Everest twice. She was born in a society where the birth of a son was regarded as a blessing, daughter was not welcomed. And she was born in that society in which a son was regarded as blessing, but a daughter, she was not welcomed. A holy man blessed Santosh's mother, thinking that she wanted a son. There was a journey in which Santosh's mother met a holy man, and the holy man blessed Santosh's mother to have a son. But Santosh's grandmother, Haryana, as the sixth child, she is a sister to 5 brothers. But Santosh's grandmother refused to have a son. She desired to have a daughter. And holy man blessed as she desired and wanted. And Santosh, she was delivered as the 6th child of her parent. She is a sister to 5 brothers. Non-traditional Santosh, she was named Santosh, meaning contentment. Satisfaction. Santosh began living life on her own terms, and she was determined to live her life on her own terms. Other girls wore traditional Indian dresses, but she wore shorts. She likes to wear short clothes. She said that she was determined to choose a correct path. Others were to change themselves, not she. It was the belief of Santosh Yadav that she will choose a correct path and she would be a great personality and inspiration for all the girls. She has not to change herself according to the other girls, but also all the girls have to change themselves according to Santosh Yadav. Santosh's great desire for education. Santosh's parents were rich landowners. Santosh Yadav had a great desire. She was determined to get more and more education. Santosh's parents were rich and landowners. They were very rich and they were rich landowners in their areas. They could send her for education to nearby Delhi, the capital, and they could afford to send their daughter Santosh Yadav anywhere just in the country's capital, that is Delhi. They could send Santosh Yadav into Delhi for their education. But they sent her to the village school. Santosh decided to fight the system because it was a misbelief of the villagers that girls must be allowed only to get education in the villages, not outstation. When she turned 16 and Santosh, she was determined to fight against the system. She wanted to change the system. She wants to get outstation to get more and more education. According to her socialism, it was not justified for the women. So she decided to fight the system when she would turn into 16. She refused to marry, and Santosh, she refused to get married because it is also the tradition in the village that girls have to get married after 16. Let you know what happens next. Before going further, just let me erase the underlines from this screen. It would be more easy to understand. Underlines would create confusions. Next, uh, Santosh decides to fight the system when she turns into 16. She refused to get married. Most of the girls in her village used to get married at that age. But Santosh, she did not want to get married. She wants to get more and more education. She warned her parents that she would never marry if she did not get a proper education. And Santosh, she just warned her parents if she did not get proper education, she would never marry. And it was just a horrifying idea for her parent. Santosh in a Delhi school, so she got admission in a school in Delhi. Her parents refused to pay her fees, but she told them that she would work part time to earn money, and she would manage her fee by working in part time. They agreed to pay for her education. She just warned and scolded, scared of her parent to pay the amount of her fee. If they do not, she would work in part time to manage her college fees. Goes to college in Jaipur. Santosh passed the high school. She went to Jaipur to join Maharani College. And what happens next? Santosh was just in the Jaipur college, and Santosh passed her high school matric examination over there. She went to Jaipur to join Maharani College, and after qualifying her matric examination, 10th standard, she went to join Maharani College in Jaipur. She got a room in Kasturba Hostel. It faced the Arauli Hills, and she managed a room by rent in the Kasturba hostel, and that hostel was facing the Arauli Hills. She used to see the villagers going up to the hill and disappearing, and she watches the villagers when they go up to hill and they disappear. Takes to climbing. One day she decided to check herself why the climbers disappeared, and it was very shocking and very strange to Santosh Yadav that where are they going? Once they climb up to the hill and they disappear. So what is the mystery behind that? She decides to check by herself. Why the climbers? She went there. She found nobody except a few climbers. And when she approaches to the place, to the hill, she finds a few climbers over there. They encouraged her to take a climbing, then there was no looking back. And all the mountaineers, they encouraged and motivated Santosh Yadav to have just trip for climbing, and there was no looking back. Santosh decided and determined to have a climbing trip, and there was no, and from that moment she did not look back. Joins Institute of Mountaineers. Santosh saved money. She saved money. She arranges and manages money for joining Mountaineers Institute. She enrolled herself in a course of Uttarkashi's Narrow Institute of Mountaineering, and she got enrolled in Uttarkashi Narrow Institute of Mountaineering. She went there directly from Jaipur. She did not go back to her home, instead, going Uttarkashi directly. She wrote a letter to her father for the apology that in it she apologized for taking admission. Let me scroll up the page. Next, she wrote a letter to her father from there. In it, she apologized for taking admission in Uttarkasi because no, she got admission or enrolled herself without the permission of her parent. And being a civilized and disciplined daughter, it is against the culture. A remarkable climber, there Santosh went on an expedition every year, and she was professionally achieved herself as a climber, and she was getting new expedition every year. She developed a remarkable resistance to cold and altitude, and she just adopted and just make her adaptable to suffer and survive in the cold as well as in the altitude. She had an iron will. She was very determined girl, physically endurance and mental toughness, and she was very strong with the physical as well as mental toughness. Her efforts started bearing fruits, and now it was resulting just fruits in her life. She was getting achievements after achievements in her life. Conquerors Mount Everest in 1988, she had asked the Aravalli mountaineers if she could join them. Just after getting admission, she asked the mountaineers if she could join them. In 1992 became the year of her grand success, and she conquered Mount Everest when she was barely 20 years old. At her early age, Santosh Yadav scaled Mount Everest first time when she was 20 years old. She thus became the youngest woman in the world to achieve it, and she was the youngest woman to achieve and to scale Mount Everest. She proved equally helpful to the fellow climbers, and she was very helpful for her fellow climbers as well as. The other side of Santosh as a climber during the 1992 Everest mission, Santosh Yadav provided special care to a climber he lay dying at the South Pole. She could not save him, but she managed to save another climber, Mohan Singh. There was a climber who was dying, but she could not save him. But she managed another climber, he was Mohan Singh. She saved him. He would have died if Santosh had not shared her oxygen with him. And Mohan Singh would die if Santosh Yadav had not shared her oxygen with him. Conquerors Everest the second time within 12 months, and Santosh again scaled Mount Everest twice within 12 months. Santosh was invited by Indo-Nepalese Women's Expedition, and she was invited to join an Indo-Nepali Women's Expedition. She became its member. She then conquered the Everest a second time. She set a record as the only woman to have climbed the Everest twice, and it was a great record with her name that a woman scaled Mount Everest twice. Now, what happened next? Let me erase the underlines first. Honored by the government, the Indian government recognized her achievements, and she was honored with the Padma Shri Award. It is one of the nation's top honors. indescribable moments at the top. Santosh described her feeling when she was on the top of the world. And she describes her feelings to the Indians, to the mountaineers, as well as all her fans. She said that it took her time for the moment to be understood. She unfurled the Indian tricolor over there. She can't describe the moment. She was the Indian flag flying on the top of the world. And she describes that I don't have so many words to describe my feelings. She unfurled the Indian tricolor on the top of the world. It was a spiritual moment for her. She felt proud, lived to be an Indian, and she was very proud of herself to be Indian. She brought down 500 kilograms of rubbish or garbage from the Himalayas. That's it for the summary of this chapter. Keep learning.